So continuing her tradition of transparency in local government, Bernadette Lee with Lafayette Live and Kenneth Boudreaux this morning.
Yes,
awesome.
Mr. Chairman joining us. Hi, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Good morning to you guys. And I'm in total agreement. Let's get the cookies out. Thank God the rain has stopped. And maybe the saturation could even go away.
I hope so.
But Kenneth, I've had like a 6-day excuse to not cut my grass. I'm not happy about that part.
No. But the problem with the 6-day excuse is that now that you have to go back and do it, it's thicker and stronger than it ever was.
Oh, it's waste time.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, kind of curious as to how last night's meeting went and your overall thoughts.
Oh, the meeting went really, really good. It was one of our shorter meetings of the year. They didn't have a whole lot of agenda items. It, of course, got started off with a bang. The first item up was the resolution that we're going to discuss this morning. And it was in reference to the number of opportunities that local government would have to bring forth a tax initiative to the people to determine if and when they want to renew taxes, raise taxes, and otherwise. So had a really good, healthy discussion on that. And I'm grateful that the side that I was on prevailed with a 5-4 vote, a majority vote of the council, saying that, Bernie, we did not want to shoot ourselves in the foot. We did not want to restrict Lafayette versus every other municipality in the state of Louisiana by putting in greater restrictions on things we could do. And if I could, I'm going to just kind of give you a little background.
Yes.
This is what happens. First, we have to be very, very clear. The council cannot raise taxes. We have not and we cannot. The only thing we could do is send initiatives to the people. Every instance, the people will vote and make the determination. And we have all, when we talk about transparency, as your program does this morning, transparency is not doing what you want to do and letting the people see it. Real transparency is letting the people make the determination. So what the council has the ability to do is allow the people to make the determination. What we had done in a previous resolution, the reason we had to repeal this was what we said was we was going to put Lafayette at a disadvantage versus everyone else. As you know, when tax initiatives go forward, there's reasons that we may not want to be on a ballot. The state might have an initiative. You say, well, if the state is doing something and we do something, that's going to be too much for the people. The school board may have an initiative, like in the last instance. And if you get a sentiment that we do not want to do something, they may vote no down the line. So by putting this additional restriction, by saying we're going to only do these in March on a general election, it limited local government's opportunity to bring things to the people that may be of necessity. And in this instance, we got lucky because with John Kerry becoming the senator after leaving the treasurer's position, John Kennedy, after leaving the treasurer's position, that created a special election opportunity. So we were able to put something on. If it would not be for that, then, in order for us to bring any considerations forward, inclusive of the 2 millages that failed and everybody said they didn't know what they were voting on, bring them back. We want to do right. We realize we need this jail. We need this courthouse. We would have had to foot the bill entirely on our own. That puts Lafayette at a disadvantage, not only against other cities in the state of Louisiana, but in particular, even cities right here in our municipality. And one of the authors of the original resolution, he lives in an area that represents 3 of the municipalities within Lafayette, and neither one of them have that restriction. So why would Lafayette do it? And that's why it was necessary to make that repeal. We were successful. Now we move forward, knowing that if the opportunity presents itself, if the need arises, we can, rather than saying we cannot.
How do you think the public is going to react to it? Because like you said, I've heard 2 schools of thought. One is I want them to just do I want them to do what they have with the money that they have. But I've also heard, you know what, I was so mad during the last election, I voted no to these renewals. I wish I could change my mind. I've heard it from both sides. What do you hear?
As far as those renewals are concerned, I have heard more of we did not know what we were voting on. I have not heard anyone talk about on as it relates to the Lafayette Parish Jail and the Lafayette Parish Courthouse. I have not heard anyone tell me do with what you have because there is nothing left. Bernie, let me be perfectly clear. If these initiatives are not renewed, it will be necessary to shut down portions of these buildings. The parish government, and that is the evaluation process 4 council members have been taking the lead on to share with the people over the last 9 months, almost a year now, and that is there is no parish fund balance to support these operations. There's zero available. Therefore, the millage, because the millage itself is insufficient, because we're still operating with a single floor millage on a 5-story jail now, that is not sufficient for the sheriff to maintain its facilities. So when things like the HVAC goes out, high cost, plumbing issues come about, high cost, security matters, we know that we have to make sure that, these locks have to be updated. They've been in that place since they've been built. When those things cannot happen, I can assure you the sheriff will have to come to the parish and say, I am not able to hold prisoners in this jail. When people realize that, when you have someone with an assault rifle in the town of Doosan near a school, when you have someone abducting people, when you have someone committing murders in the urban core in the inner city, when you have robberies taking place in our retail establishments, that is not what people really want, and it's important that they understand that. So for me, I think that people will get around these villages. They have been in place for many, many years. They did not have a good appreciation for what it was, and they want to do right by it. So I think that the majority is going to want to put these back into place. Those people who say, do with what you've got, they would be in for a rude awakening, one that Lafayette is not ready for. The operation of the courthouse, that very old, in some instance, unsecured courthouse, people who go there for their marriage licenses, people who go there for civil matters, people who go there for criminal matters, the attorneys, the families who have to visit people there, they do not want elevators shut down. They do not want security measures lessened. They do not want to have to be in stairwells with inmates being transported to jail. People will say things that they really don't mean because they don't have a full appreciation for what that feels like
but
and
you
looks
say,
like when it goes into effect.
And I understand that. And you've said repeatedly they don't have a good appreciation. You also said repeatedly that people didn't know about it. So the question is, how come people didn't know about it?
Escapes. Yes, Bernie, that escapes me. Cannot be the use of public funds to advertise these types of initiatives. Okay, there was a lot of talk about this. There were a lot of print articles, radio time, TV time. There's been numerous meetings. I'm not sure how people could have not known what this was and what the purpose was for. I think there is a lot of voter apathy that exists. We know the percentile of people who have been turning out to vote, whether you are on the prevailing side of an issue or the other side of an issue, whether it was a presidential issue, whether it was a local issue. Voter apathy has become common. There are a lot of people who have expressed frustration in government. They simply don't participate. They don't utilize it to a great degree. Their quality of life is not as bad as some people may think, and people are just not voting for whatever reason. How someone would not know the importance of voting and participating in an election, that actually escapes me.
Okay. As we start to wrap up with Kenneth Boudreaux from the Lafayette Consolidated Government Council, what do you make of those who say, folks like yourself, or the rest of the council, just government in general, they're just weary of how this stuff is going to be spent? Because the overwhelming, even the people who knew about it said, we know about it and we voted no because we don't like what's being done. How do you reconcile that?
I would tell them, let's have a conversation. You cannot, Monday morning quarterback. You have to come to the budget process. You have to ask for the documents. We are more than happy to lay everything out and show people how this is spent. But this is what has happened. We have had people get out there and talk about run government like a business. In all practicality, you can't exactly do that. Okay, you cannot run government like a private checking account, like a home checking account. You can't exactly do that. The only thing I could say is the transparency that people want is available. The historical effect of what previous elected officials have done has to be set aside, and you have to give the current officials an opportunity to show you exactly what they're doing. I will tell you that even when I come to the program with you guys, the reception historically has been okay. Okay, meaning that people, they have a lot of concerns, but when we explain it to someone like a second grader, then they could start to wrap their arms around it. Historically, we haven't done a good job of explaining, but I could tell you, we can show how government spends, why it spends, and the laws that regulate us to get people comfortable. But the fluff, the pork, these acronyms that people talk about, the inappropriate spending, the unnecessary spending, I guarantee you, if you come and dig into the books with us, you will see that everything is proper and in order. Remember, we get audited. Remember, the legislative auditor, we have to provide local audits. We have won awards for financial budgeting, for budgeting practices as a municipality. This is real. Those things don't happen if you're doing things the wrong way, but you have to give it a fair chance.
Well, thank you so much. I hope another way can be figured out how to inform people, because, I sat here with Mr. Boudreaux for 12 years.
Yes.
We went back and forth about how things work, and it's explained, but maybe it takes a different attitude, as you were mentioning, for people to be receptive. We have to go because we've run out of time, but I do want to thank you for your time this morning.